Hello. Welcome to the Alkaline podcast, episode 16, I think. That's 6 more episodes than average listeners. It's good figures. You know, you got to start somewhere in this game, mate. You got to start somewhere in the stream of consciousness, sort of rambly podcast game, you know. I've had a relatively long day. I got the overnight coach from the north. When you do traveling, right, you get your return ticket from the nearest stop to your house. But then on the way back, I go immediately to work to do a couple of hours of work and cooking the food and that. And there's another stop just after mine, like 5 minutes down the road. There's a bit closer to work, so normally I just stay on. I just stay on the bus to get to the. To stay out for the next one. I think they're all the same price anyway, but it's literally down the road anyway. So the guy goes, Preston Circus, when I get on the Preston Circus near where I live, and I'm like, oh, do you mind if I just stay on for the extra stop just because, it's just down the road and that. And he's like, oh, you're going to have to go to the ticket office and, update your ticket and that. And I'm like, oh, like most of the time I can just sort of stay. It's like 7 a.m. And like most of the time, I could just sort of stay on the bus. It's 2 minutes, like 5 minutes down the road, dude. Like be a mate. I know we've only just met, and I know it's early. And he was a very thorough bus driver. You kind of want to walk up and down the coach to make sure that you got your seatbelt. Got your seatbelt on, mate. You know what I mean? They like to talk about the toilet. Those guys, we do have a chemical toilet. If you could refrain from doing a number 2, we will be making a rest stop halfway along the journey. At Gatwick Airport, you can do your number 2. And as I stop talking, it's fucking 7 a.m, mate. Everyone knows how to shit. We're all adults. We've been using toilets our whole time, right? And we also know how horrible it is to. You know what I mean? We'll be all right. We don't need it to be explained to us. Do you know what I mean? They don't do that if you walk into like Starbucks or whatever. They don't be like, oh, here's your coffee, and by the way, if you are going to use the toilet, no, people just assume that you know what's going on. But it's his domain. He's got a microphone. He's the guy. He's the guy who's going to make sure everyone follows the fucking National Express rules, mate. And but he was like, no, you're gonna have to go and get that checked. So I was like, no, all right, I'll just get off where I'm getting off. It's not that much of a problem. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll just fucking stay on. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what you normally do if you buy like a City Saver, or you get a fucking travel card and you go just outside Zone 6 or whatever. You're like, oh, just fucking chance it one stop out. Do you know what I mean? You try and fucking blag the guy or whatever. I know that's how we end up in prison. You know what I mean? Breaking little tiny laws like that. It all builds up gateway crime, that, innit? And before long, you're fucking selling cars, mate. Selling smack on the black market. You know what I mean? He started. He was such a nice lad. You know what I mean? And he jumped that fucking train, didn't he? He jumped that train, ended up in court lying to the fucking man. Allegedly. But anyway, so he got to my stop, and I was like, I'm just going to stay. And then he was waiting. No one else was getting off. There's maybe 10 people on the fucking bus, average comedy gig size. And he's just waiting. And I was like, I'm going to have to get off this fucking bus, aren't I? He's not going to. He's like, you got your ticket to the stop? And I was like, yeah, I'll just go get your bag from. I was like, all right, mate. I'm getting off. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't call the manager. Don't call him in. Do you know what I mean? We're going to need backup. This fucking guy. So I'm not going to kill this fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to get off at the correct stop. I mean, I know he's in the right. Shut up, mate. I know he is. It's just weird to be so relentlessly in the right all the time. Like, I was quite terrible for IDing people. So they do, when I worked at Co-op, I was only I was 20, just early 20s. And if someone he looks like he's like 19, He's with his Chevy mates and that, but he looks. It's fine. Oh, you're all right. You're gonna drink those responsibly. I mean, I know it's like 3 bottles of Strongbow. Do you know what I mean? And a Frosty Jacks. You're gonna drink that responsibly, are you little nipper? Do you know what I mean? And then you grab his cheek and that ruffle his hair. On with you, son. Do you know what I mean? He's like, oh no, I left my school bag. You're like, school bag? You didn't talk about this. And by that time, the transaction's fucking done, isn't it, mate? Selling booze to kids. You can believe that story if you want. I don't mind too much. One time I was working in co-op and there was a guy. There's a guy who comes in and he's always like, you feel he just does a little bit of shopping because you feel like he's like he just wants to get out of the house, and that's fucking respect that dude. Do a bit of shopping, do you know what I mean? He always buys the amount of food he needs for that day. Do you know what I mean? Like this, so he goes shopping again. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. He does it on a really busy Saturday. He likes to have a chat. It really upsets the people behind him in the queue. Do you know what I mean? Because he's like, oh, buying this bread again, and you're like, yeah, man, yeah, it's cool. And you're like, but he's just trying to get out of the house. You can't fucking fault that. One time I sold him these co-op value beans, mate. I think they were like 8p beans. They were 8p. Anyway, whatever. I scanned them through 8p. On your way to son, and he's like, oh, got my beans, and he leaves. And then big massive queue. It's a Saturday in it, and you're on the fag till, and it's in Lansing. I don't know if you've ever been to Lansing, but it's one of those places where everyone still smokes somehow. You know what I mean? Most places you go out, you're the one who's fucking stinking up the pavement outside. You know what I mean? Like smoking and that. But you go to Lansing, everyone's fucking outside. Do you know what I mean? There's no one in a pub. You see, easy to get served in Lansing, mate. Everyone's outside fucking smoking away like. So my queue was always really long. It's also the hand basket queue, 5 items or less. And then sometimes someone's like, he's got 7 items. And you're like, calm down, mate. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? He's like, they're in an offer. And it's like, well, that still counts as individual items. And you're like, why are you, I'm the one who works here. Do you know what I mean? Why do you care more about the rules than I do? Do you know what I mean? It's 7 items, man. It's fine. Around 5 items or less. No one's ever going to be like, back in the queue, you line up with those trolleys, mate. You're basically a trolley with your 6 items. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, it's, but I want to get one free. It's like, oh, it's still the same amount of items, mate. Anyway, it doesn't bother me. Like, I was like, whatever. So the queue's fucking quite long. Anyway, I noticed that the guy who's bought the 8p beans, he's joined the back of the queue, and I'm like, oh, you're right there, down there, you've forgotten something or whatever. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine. And I was like, well, these people has probably been stood there for about 15, 20 minutes, like, because I'm not very quick, mate. I don't work there anymore. Unsurprisingly, do you know what I mean? But it wasn't my dream to work in retail. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't my passion. It wasn't my passion project. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I did try. I was like, we'll serve you all. Don't worry. Do you know, it's a Saturday. What else are we doing? Do you know what I mean? You're buying like 3 bottles of vodka. Do you know what I mean? You can wait a bit. Do you know what I mean? But you're the rest of your day. Glenn's. I mean, it was under 5 items, so we got to serve the dude. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, we get to this fucking guy, and he gives me the beans back, and I'm like, so you got a problem? He was like, you charged me 8p for these beans. And I was like, sorry, what, how much? And he was like, on the shelf it says 6p. I can show you if you want. I can show you. And I was like, no, I'll take your word for that. Thanks for letting us know. I was like, cheers for letting us know and that, mate. And he was just like, still stood there for a bit. And there was a queue. The queue doesn't stop forming. There's still people there behind him. Do you know what I mean? Trying to buy their copy of the Sun or fucking scan their lottery tickets. People used to do that all the time, and they'd be like, "No, you've not won. Why have you queued up to?" And there's people. That's how people check. They don't want to They can't. I can't be asked to actually look at the numbers. We'll just go scan that ticket, scan the ticket, and find out. There's loads of people come in with like maybe sometimes people will buy like 10 lucky dips. You know what I mean? You fucking just gotta be like, no, sorry, no. Sorry, you still have to live in Lansing, mate. Sorry, you've not won. You've not won the lottery again. And if I see you tomorrow and you're like, all right, mate, I'll have another fucking 15 of those. You're like, fucking hell. No, you're never going to win. Apparently, Worthing's got the highest amount of lottery winners in the country. I don't know if that's still true, but that's what people used to say. People used to say that because customers always have they think they're the first one to make a joke or, oh, I guess that's free if someone doesn't scan. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. So people will always be like, I always buy my lucky dip because Worthing's got the highest amount of lottery winners, and I'll be like, yeah, but we are outside of Worthing. We're not in Worthing. Go to one in Worthing if you think they've suddenly got magic numbers. You know what I mean? You're picking the same numbers. And people always make the mistake of picking like, oh, it's his birthday. Do you know what I mean? But there's never more than 31 days in a month. Do you know what I mean? And then numbers go up to like 50. So you're like, it's definitely all the numbers are going to be under 30. Do you know what I mean? It's just my special day. It's like, yeah, but it's not. The lottery doesn't care about it. It's just some numbers, mate. There's some fucking Arthurian legend named numbers. Like Excalibur, what they called, like Camelot. We're using Camelot today. He's like, oh, is that going to make it better? I don't think so. But anyway, he was still stood there, and I was like, you want your 2p, don't you? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, but the thing is, I haven't worked here for that long. I've worked here for a couple of months. So if I give you that 2p, I'm gonna have to call like a supervisor to like sign for it, and he's on that other till which has got that massive trolley queue. So we're gonna have to get him over. And he was like, yeah. I was like, so you understand that we're gonna have to fucking call the guy over, and he's gonna have to sign a thing, and we're just gonna give you the 2p. Like, yeah. So I was like, all right, and I was like trying to be like, oh mate, I can't remember his name, and mate, he didn't answer. So I got the intercom in there, so I'm like, can the store supervisor please come to the kiosk, please? Thank you. And then he's like, he looks over, he's like, really busy, and I'm like, this dude. You know, you get to what this got to follow that procedure. All the time I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, what's going on here? It's really busy. Saturday afternoon. People are trying to buy their 8p beans that should be 6p beans. Do you know what I mean? That child's trying to buy booze. Anyway, he comes over and I'm like, can you sign for this refund price alteration? He's like, yeah. How much are we talking? Like, it's just, it's 2p in it. It's 2p that. I mean, it was a couple of years ago. 2p was probably worth like 3p. Back then, the pound was doing better. Probably. The penny. You got to count your pennies, mate. He's probably a millionaire, that guy, because they always say, you look after your pennies. And I was like, oh God, how can I look after my pennies if they're still under till? I need to have them all. I need to have them with me. Do you know what I mean? But he got his 2p, mate. He did. He went off. I forgot to tell him to change it on the aisle though. That's bad customer service from me. I'm not very good at customer service. That's why I ended up becoming a chef. I think it's back of the yard, isn't it? Back of the house. Back of the house. Like, but yeah, he really wanted that. He really wanted it. But then, sometimes people do just need to get out of the house, and you got to respect that. I had to help an old lady on the way home from work, so I got off the coach anyway. It gave me the opportunity to actually go, but normally I just have all this stuff, so I had to take that to work. But it gave me the opportunity to go and drop some shit off at home, so I did that, and I got fucking up and bust to work there. And then did my job. Coming home, and it's a bit rainy and that, and there's another old lady, and she's like, I got my headphones in. And she's like, hello. So I took him out and I'm like, all right, you all right, love? How's it going? Do you need a hand with something? And she's like, yeah, I do. I've been waiting for someone to come past, to help me with something. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she just went, number 14 owes me. He owes me loads. He owes me £14. And I was like, okay. I don't know him. I was like, I don't know the guy. I'm not gonna go. I'm not your debt collector or anything. Obviously, I wasn't like sarcastic with it. I was like, oh, okay, love. Like, what would you like me to help? How would you like me to help? He's like, could you go and ask for it? And I was like, what does he owe you it for? He was like, he's supposed to be sorting my water bill out. And I was like, who's your landlord or something? He's like, no, it's just a mate. And Southern Water are gonna come round in a bit because they sent me a letter. And I was like, okay. So you want me to go and find number 14, knock on his door and be like, there's an old lady up there. I was like, you're going to come? And she was like, I can't see very well. And I was like, oh, no, I've got to help her now. I can't just abandon a blind old lady on the street, So I was like, okay. And I was like, I'll go and do it then. But I don't know. I didn't know what to do. What would you do in this situation? I said, I'd walk down the street. I found number 14. It's a big blue door, right? So, and he had a little bit of a hedge. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll just step in there for a second and just sort of wait. And then come back. And I came back and I was like, oh, really sorry, love. But I knocked on the door. No one answered. Do you know what I mean? So maybe if he owes you the money or whatever, you could phone him up, or he can come round your house in a bit and drop it off. It's like, oh, I don't know. He said he was gonna come round, but he's not being around today. I've been waiting out here. I was like, oh, it's raining and shit. You should be waiting inside your house and that. She's like, well, did you wait there at his door for long enough? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Well, he didn't answer. So I mean, clearly not. But I waited there enough. And no one came to the door. I was lying to an old lady at this point. I'm trying to help, though. I'm not being mean. I am lying to an old lady, much like Boris Johnson did when he came to power. That's a bit of topical humour there. That's, keep it. I'm trying to keep it like this. Well, me just apparently lying to an old lady who reminded me of my gran. right? But then she was like, "Oh, well, maybe you can like." What I would do is I would write a little note to him to say, "Can I have my £14?" And then I'd post it for his door, but I can't really see, and I haven't got any paper, and I haven't got a pen. Have you got a bit of paper? And I was like, "I haven't got any paper. I'm sorry." And it's like, and she's like, "Oh, I don't even have a pen." And I was like, "Well, maybe like, you know, maybe some, I wanted to be like, maybe someone else can come and help you." But she was like, "No, well, like, I think Southern Water are going to come around." I was like, "Oh, well, maybe when they come around, you can tell them the situation you have with number 14, and they can maybe go and help you out by getting this." Because I was like, I'm starting to believe that 14. I'll be like, "Excuse me, is there's an old lady? You owe money to this old lady?" And he'd be like, "I don't know what you were talking about, mate. What kind of shabby-looking debt collector are you trying to scam me out of 14 quid because apparently a blind old lady up the street? He's not going to believe me." I feel like he's going to be like, "All right, mate, heard it all now, haven't we?" Do you know what I mean? You've come around and be like, "Yeah, excuse me, mate. Have you got that 14 for the blind old lady up the street?" And he's going to be like, what old lady? Why wouldn't she be with you? Why has she sent you around? Like, what's going to happen to me? But she's like, "Oh, we'll write this little note." And I was like, "Okay." She was like, "You're going to have to help me down my path, though." And I looked into her garden, and there was a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff in her garden. A lot of rubbish piled up. It's kind of sad, really, but like, and then I went, and she was hoarding stuff. Man, she was hoarding stuff. She kept handing me things and saying, "Is that paper? Can you write on that?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. And so I was trying to be like, I feel like you should get in contact with Southern Water, who are gonna, if you owe them." So I think what's happened is she's just been sent a bill, and that she has to pay, and she's a bit, confused. Like, she's quite old. She was quite old. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to be like, "I've just got to go." Well, mate, I've got to go. I wanted to be like, maybe they'll come round. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know where my phone is and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, in a minute, I'm going to have to phone Southern Water on this old lady's behalf." But I ended up. She was like, "Okay," and in the end, she couldn't find any paper and a pencil. "I'm really sorry. I can't find the paper and a pen." This is just my generic old lady voice. I'm not saying she sounded like this. So I ended up just going, and I don't know whether I've done a good thing there, because I've not really helped an old lady. I've kind of lied to an old lady. I've not really helped to do anything apart from get back down her path again. There was just so much stuff in her house, like so much stuff. It's all piled up, and you can tell. I've watched them hoarding programs because they always organize it. So she had loads of cans of like Diet Coke that were all just there, and then she had like a wall of sort of like tampon boxes, and then in the kitchen was like loads of like reusable coffee cups, but like in the plastic sleeve still, but just like stacked up in that. And I was like, "Oh, this is proper hoarding territory, this, isn't it?" Like, I feel like you feel like you're starting a collection. I'll collect these, or maybe like you and then it just gets out of hand. Like, you just don't know where to stop, I suppose. Maybe the guy who got shortchanged on the beans was built on a wall of beans in his house. It could be true, but I ended up leaving. Like, what would you have done? Would you have phoned something from what? Like, that's an old lady. She'd be like, "How do you know?" I don't really know. I don't really know her. I'm just in her house. She says she owes some water. They'll be like, "Yeah, she does." And then I'll be like, "What do I do then?" Like, be like, "You do have to pay this water bill to her." And then she'll be like, "Oh, have you? Like, can you pay my water bill?" I'll be like, I don't know how this has gone too far. I want to help the aged. I thought this isn't quite the the helping an old lady across the road experience that we were told about when we were like in Cub Scouts. You know what I mean? Like, I want to help you, but I'm not sure any of this is real. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure. I worked at a care home for a year. Like, it was near my house, and I do care about them, but it was the closest job vacancy to my house. I had no previous experience in care, and I did quite like it. You see, once you get to know the old people, I mean, there's a lot of general maintenance that people sort of like won't. I was a care assistant. You see, I just like wasn't like a fully trained carer. You have to go to college and stuff for that. I was a care assistant for a year, and it was to be honest, it was a really nice job because you get to work with people who need help and you get to actually help them. And like, there's a lot of general maintenance, which is kind of a bit gross. But then I would do the same thing for your nan. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just some people, if people need that, they need it. Do you know what I mean? You got to care for them. Like, and you do get some stories. There was a guy in there who there was a guy in there who had like he had some like diabetes complications and was on and you know has had like dementia and stuff. But then when you put on like old Elvis, he would start just sort of jiving in his wheelchair and like chatting up people and that. And that's cool, man. That's good. But it was interesting, and he was happy in those moments, you know. Um, but you know what I mean? I'm trying to say I'm a caring person. I wanted to help this. I wanted to help this lady out, but I also didn't want to be just part of the madness. Do you know what I mean? Because there was a good opportunity that at the end, at the end of the process, it would have been like a bill from 5 years ago that she's paid, or that she hasn't paid, and then all of a sudden she's in a world of debt or whatever. I don't. It'd be kind of suck to become a lonely old lady, wouldn't it? I mean, there's probably a lot of people out there. They talk about it all the time at Christmas on Christmas adverts. I can't really imagine being like 70. I don't think. Can you imagine being like an old person? Like I think I keep hearing that like 50s like the danger zone in it for like heart attacks and stuff. And like I feel like I will quit smoking at some point. Like no one, as I say, apart from in Lansing, no one's smoking now either. You feel a bit silly smoking sometimes, like actual cigarettes and that. You're just like, do you know what happens, don't you? And you're like, yeah, I do know what happens. I mean, it's written everywhere. They keep telling us. Do you know what I mean? Why? I don't know. I don't really know. Calms me down, does it? I don't know. You know, James Dean. You can't keep saying James Dean. Do that. Dude died in the mid-50s. He looked cool though. He did, but he did die in the mid-50s. I mean, he didn't die of a smoking-related illness, but he probably would have. You know, if he carried on. I'm not even sure why I started smoking. Like, I feel like it was funny, like, because you just try and make your friends laugh. Like, they would be smoking. I think it was like year 9 at school. And I'd take like a drag and it would make me cough loads. And they were like, that's quite funny. Like, oh, yeah, you just can't handle that, can you? And then one day you just can't handle it. You're like, oh no. Now I need to do that. I fucking well need to do that. I've tried to quit smoking loads of times, but like, it's difficult. Like, it's sort of like, smoke loads before doing like when you're nervous now you smoke when you're doing it, and if you think it calms you down, but I feel like it's just because you feel like you need to be doing something like fidgety, and that is one thing that you can do. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes I feel like especially at stand-up gigs now, I smoke like loads more than I would ever smoke normally, and like feel like if you can feel it. I mean, I'm getting a bit older. Do you know what I mean? I'm like 32. You can start to feel it. Like I used to like go swimming before school. With my friend Richard, one time we because we used to live in an army barracks, right? So like near an army barracks, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of army shit just like out on the outside of the fence, like civilians could use as well. And they had this garrison swimming pool, right? And it was across the road from a spa where I saw my mate Paul Reeder go absolutely mental and rip down the do you know where the chewing gum is? He ripped that down because they ID'd him for cigarettes. I mean, he was underage, but he was still living. He was like, "This is how I'm going to prove that I'm over 18 or whatever it was." 16, or I can't remember what the law was then, but I think it might have been 16, you know. But because I'll show them that I'm not that old, because an old person, if they got asked for ID, would fucking rip that down and go like, "You're a bunch of fucking like bellends," or whatever, shouting at them, and they're like, "Oh no, actually, mate, you are kicking off like an adult. You are kicking off like an adult would. Here's your cigarettes." But across the road from that, there's the Garrison swimming pool. At one time, me and my mate just went in there. There was no one on reception, and we used to go we tried to go for a couple of months. We used to go like every day, or like maybe it wasn't a couple of months. Maybe it was a few weeks. Maybe it was 1 week. Maybe we just went that day. I'm not sure. We did go a couple of times. Afterwards, I had a McDonald's breakfast, which probably kind of negated all of the swimming. I'm not sure why we were doing it. Just getting fit, mate. Children getting fit. That's what you need to do, right? So there was no one on reception, so we're just like, should we just fucking go and get changed? We'll pay after. We'll just sneak out or something. So we went into the change room. No one in there. I mean, fucking got changed. It's a bit weird. I mean, the door was open. Do you know what I mean? So then we were all ready in our swimming shorts and that. So we fucking went up, had the pre-shower. You know, get all that outside shit off you. Do you know what I mean? You're too fucking skanked to come in this fucking swimming pool where everyone's pissed. Everyone's pissed in that. But you got to wash that outside, not piss off you before you get into the piss pool. Right? So we go up to the fucking thing. don't really look around, dive into the fucking pool, swim one length, come back up, and we turn around, and there's this line of soldiers in like swimming trunks lined up, and then there's like clearly like the leader, like the Full Metal Jacket guy. Do you know what I mean? He's just wearing like he's just got speedos on, but one of those like American officer hats, you know, with the big flat rim all the way around, and he's just like marched up and down in his fucking speedos and that. Do you know what I mean? Like all like knees are clunking together and shit. And then we fucking pop up, and they're all just ready to do some like swimming training or whatever they're fucking doing. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just some fucking PT or whatever. And then the guy's like, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "We just swimming." And he's like, "You're gonna have to go because we're the army. We might not look, we're not dressed as the army right now, but rest assured, look, they're all stood the same, aren't they? Only the army does that, or the army just stand like that. Do you know what I mean? They're standing to attention. Who does that before swimming apart from the army? Like, we're doing army shit in here. Do you know what I mean? In case anyone ever attacks us via the swimming pool, we're going to be like, we know what to do. What would happen? You have to go through every scenario when you're in the army. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes wars will happen when you're in all sorts of situations. Like you could be having lunch with the fam. Do you know what I mean? You could be having a little dip with your army mates. The whole platoon's down there. And you're all in your speedos, and all of a sudden war breaks out, and you got to know what to do. That's what they were doing. They were trying to do. Like, you're gonna have to leave, mate. I guess the only alternative was to immediately join the army, but I don't think I'd get in. But anyway, we had to go anyway, so we left, and there wasn't anyone reception. I guess because the swimming pool was closed, because the army were doing swimming pool training and basic exercises. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they were preparing for another D-Day landing. But yeah, like, why did I start telling you about the swimming pool thing? Oh yeah. So we were like, but when you swim, like even back then, like when we were like 16, 17 or whatever, like 15 or whatever, you can like, if you're smoking when you swim, you can feel your fucking lungs. You can feel all your little bronchioli in there, I think. And I'm like, I don't really go swimming now because I've got a perforated eardrum. Back when I lived in Lansing, I had like an ear infection, and then I went to the doctor and they gave me this liquid drops, right? And then I put them in, and it made it much worse. And then I googled it because you should always Google your ailments first. Do you know what I mean? They said don't put any liquid in it because it's like and then they said perforate, it's a hole. Do you know what I mean? If you put liquid in, you sometimes you get a bit you've got like proper gunky. Like, so if you get water in it, you can't. It just turns to like this horrible fucking yellow gunk, and it happened to me loads. And before I fucking realised what was going on, and sometimes it drips down through the perforation into the back of your throat. It's fucking disgusting. It's so gross. So now I'm getting really good at keeping my head out of the water. I know how to angle my head in a rainstorm. Do you know what I mean? So that I don't get fucking gunk here. And so I don't go swimming anymore. But I'm sure it'd be fucking much worse. I'm terrible at swimming, you know. I used to think I was quite good at swimming, but I think I swim like a dog. Do you know what I mean? Like, all like frantic and that. Do you know what I mean? Just relentlessly keeping my head above the water. I used to think I did the breaststroke, but then when you watch it on TV, people are fucking cannoning out of the water like some fucking kind of flying fish. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, do you know what I mean? Just fucking flapping around, like just going round in circles and that. Well, I used to think I was good at swimming because I could do that thing. Do you know when you get towards the end when you're doing lengths, right? You get towards the end and you go under the water and you flip yourself around under the water and then you kick off the wall and then you come back again. Apart from in the Olympics, they go like half the pool underwater, but I like just pop back up, just fucking paddling away, like just trying to not drown and that. But one time I did 1,750 meters. I got a certificate for it, but you got to have a day out of school. It's like a marathon, but in the water. And I remember I did a few galas. I did a gala for school and that. I did the breaststroke in that, and I can't imagine I can't remember where I placed in it. Maybe I was better at swimming then, but now it's appalling. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I go in the sea. But yeah, I feel like I'll quit smoking at some point. This is the Alkaline podcast where I am talking about like all these crazy addictions, and I talked to people about smoking. Then I'm doing the drinking thing, man. I have since the last one. I've gone like a full 9 days and 5 hours. It says on the app. So that's all right. That's over a week, isn't it? Like, and I've been tested. I've been in a high stress situation. I had to go to a Weatherspoons up north to wait for my kids to finish school and that, and they do free refills. So I got like a free, like, I got some tea, but then you can mix it up, have a cappuccino, have a latte. But it did feel weird to be sat in an open Weatherspoons and not drinking. Like it was bizarre. Because it's so cheap. You're like, fuck. Not that I would get, obviously not that I'd get loads of, I'd get smashed and go and pick the kids up from school. Who's doing that? Do you know what I mean? You'll end up on some fucking registers, mate, if you keep fucking doing shit like that. Do you know what I mean? Turning up to the school all plastered. But that's not what I mean. I meant just sitting in spoons up north without drinking. I used to work in that Weatherspoons. There's Weatherspoons in the town where I'm from, and it's where I go sometimes when I've got out to do because I don't live there. Do you know what I mean? You can't just wander about like a vagrant. I used to work there for like a month. I think a couple of people from the Mighty Boosh came in once. There's Howard Moon, who's in that fucking Clash show Flowers, which is on Netflix, which is really good. You should watch that if you like dark shit. It's got Olivia Colman in. Fucking love Olivia Colman. Who doesn't? If you don't love Olivia Colman, then I can never talk to you again, probably. But I think Howard Moon came in, and then there was another one who's got like more curly hair. I don't really watch the Mighty Boosh. I know it wasn't really for me. I have laughed a couple of times watching it, but it's not really for me. But it's too much in it sometimes. The fucking Mighty Boosh. But anyway, he was a bit being like, do you not know who I am? And at the time, I genuinely didn't know who he was. So it's funny when people are like, do you not know who I am? Because then you think that most people would be like, oh, who's this like sort of dickhead and that? But I was like, who are you? Like, who are you? I'm like, do I know you personally, sort of thing? But then I spoke to my mate Will afterwards. He's quite a big Boosh fan, and he was like, oh, it's a guy from the band. I was like, oh, okay, he's a dickhead then. Do you know what I mean? Who does that in a Weatherspoons? Like the place that you not know who I am card. But yeah, he came in one time. One time I accidentally gave someone Beck's Blue all night. Like he was buying bottles of Beck's. Like you get them like free for a $5 or something, and spoons like, or maybe even less than that at that time, like free for a £3 or something. But anyway, I didn't know Beck's Blue was a thing because I didn't have the concept of people not wanting to get drunk. You know what I mean? So like I didn't know alcohol-free beer was a thing when I worked there. It must have been like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, maybe even more, 13 maybe. And I forgot how old I was for a second there. It's probably when I was about 19, I reckon 20. So like 12 years ago. And I just handed him Beck's Blue all night, and he didn't notice until one of that, and he was just like, "Fine." Is that? And you don't ever try and trick a northerner into thinking they're drunk when they're like thinking that they should be drunk when they're not drunk because they want to be drunk. Do you know what I mean? Then they know the feeling. And he's like, "Dude, I'm not drunk," and I was like, "Fuck." It's kind of like, what do you do as customer service there? You're like, "Fuck, let's just try and get you immediately drunk." Do you know what I mean? We got all this spirits. We'll stick them in a glass. I'm really sorry. I didn't know Beck's Blue was a thing. Do you want to drink all the spirits in one pint glass? Because we can arrange it. Like, I'm not really tied to this job. I will fucking, I'll hook you up. We could do rum, get some tequila in there. I'll set it on fire if that's going to help. Do you know what I mean? We're just going to intravenously inject this into your fucking ass, mate. If you want. I didn't mean to not get you drunk. He wasn't happy though, because you can't. He's lost time there. He's lost time in the drinking world, in the drinking game. All his mates are like having a laugh talking about when they were like kids and that, and he's like, I don't like any of these people. It's like, well, that's why I was drinking these Becks, because I wanted to pretend to like these mates, these lads, these builders that I'm hanging around with. I've been hanging around with these guys for years, and we've always been drunk in Weatherspoons. You know what I mean? I've never planned to not be drunk in Weatherspoons. Do you know what I mean? That's why I come. That's why I hang out with these people. Because they all want to do that. That's the one thing we connect on. That's the one thing we connect on. And you've taken that away from me. And it's like, fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be the cause of that. Sorry, mate. Sorry. They used to do these special edition Bailey's chocolate shots. Do you remember those? It's like Bailey's, but in an edible shot glass that you can eat. Obviously, that's what edible means. But like, they were quite nice. They were like just probably like dairy milk or something, just made into a different shape. But they were in the little walk-in fridge they got round the side, and I used to just eat them. They had no Baileys in. Like you had to just pour them. They were just the shot glasses made of chocolate. Quite nice, dude. No one really ordered them. They didn't really advertise them very well. And I was like, what the fucking no one's having them, mate. I'm just gonna fucking just nip into the fridge, mate. Do you know what I mean? Having a fucking chocolate shot glass. But yeah, no. The reason why I did get fired though is I came into work, and it turns out that was my day off. And at first I was like, sweet. But then I was like, no, but you did take yesterday off. And I was like, you're supposed to do like a double shift, like a morning, and evening shift, like all day. And I was like, oh fuck, why didn't someone call me? And I was like, well, we did try. I was like, oh okay, I just didn't look at my phone. It was back in the day when people didn't look at the phones. Remember when you just had like a phone which didn't do anything apart from have calls, and you used to be able to, you had to text message someone. Like if you wanted to text someone, you can't have an in-depth text conversation. Unlike now, I mean, people are sending essays to each other with reference points like one and like fucking links and that at the bottom. Do you know what I mean? And no, there's no memes back then. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Now you just got to you've got to send like 14 messages to have a go at your girlfriend. Do you know what I mean? And another thing. It's like, oh, not another thing. Do you know what I mean? I wish we could have sorted this out with fucking text speak. Do you know when people? I used to have a little handbook which would be like, which used to tell you what like BRB and shit meant, and they went quite in depth. And I was like, oh, they're just making these up for the book because no one's like. Some of them were. It was just easier to just type out what you're trying to abbreviate. There's so many fucking abbreviations. And I was like, no one's using these. These are just made up by some like suit, some like 40-year-old suit. Be like, oh, I bet they do that. They don't do that, mate. But anyway, so they called me up to the office and that, and he's like, you know, you're gonna have to like go. But it was like a month. I was like, you go on like probation for like 3 months or whatever. But they hired me at the start of December, and I got fired like in like first week of January. So I feel like they just got me in for the Christmas period. It was fine. I wasn't tied to working at Wetherspoons, much like I wasn't tied to being in retail at Co-op. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't for me. Do you know? I wanted to be on the other side of the bar, mate. Sometimes I go into Spoons now, and because I've not lived there since maybe like 2008. You go in and it opens at 9 and they serve beer at 9, like John Smith's and that. Obviously all the beer, but that's what they're drinking. And you see the same people who've come into Spoons, like even when I worked there, which was like 12 years ago. And then I went in there on like Friday afternoon, and it was it was Thursday afternoon, and it was the same people. 12 years later, going into Spoons every day. For like, I don't know, that's quite rough, isn't it? I mean, they're having fun. They got mates, you know what I mean? But that is their thing they connect on. I can't imagine they're like old friends, because sometimes they'll go to each other's houses or something, wouldn't they? Yeah. But I didn't drink. I just drank fucking. I don't really drink coffee, but I just wanted to. I was like, you just go around the board, don't you? Because it's free refills and you've got a couple of hours. So I just had like started with a tea, and then like a latte and that. It's quite depressing, really. I wasn't bothered by it. It's fine. Sometimes I see people that I know in there, and it's weird because I've not seen them in ages. And yeah, I don't always. If they acknowledge me, I'll be like, "Oh, you right?" But I normally just be like, "Oh," I just look down there. Not people I know really well, I guess. But yeah, I feel like smoking's gonna have to be the next one to go. Do you know what I mean? Who's smoking anymore? Like, you'd feel like a bit of an idiot, wouldn't you, if you were just like, "You're gonna die now of that," and you're like, "Fuck!" But the thing is, the damage could already be done because it's like your life's door. Do you know what I mean? You could have smoked for like 10 years. Well, from starting at 16, quit when you were 26, and then the damage you did then could mean that something would develop in you when you're like 40, wouldn't it? So I mean, I've already probably done enough damage, and then at that point, you'd be like, we may as well fucking carry on. And then, but that's a really pessimistic way to look at life, and I don't even know if that's. I'm just assuming that that's how cancer works, and you shouldn't really do that because it's. You should know the facts. But you can't Google it because it's too scary. I'm gonna have to go and see the doctor anyway. I'll probably talk to him about because I think I feel like I'm going a bit. My left ear isn't working as well as my right ear, because of the perforation probably. But you can tell when you put headphones in. It's not a lot, but you can tell a bit. So I'm probably gonna have to go and talk about that, and maybe I'll talk about the big C then. It's kind of gross. Like my friend's dad used to do that thing where you would like inhale a bit of a cigarette and then breathe it onto like a bit of tissue paper, and you could see all because you didn't inhale, you'd see all like the black sort of tar that that would have gone into your lungs would come out and like sort of go on this tissue. And you're like, oh, it's pretty gross, but you know, I haven't got any cigarettes, so can you save me? You're gonna smoke the rest of that fag? You just prefer. So a single track mind. Yeah, man. My name's Riggs. I realised that when I went around and did that stand gigs, I got called David. My real name's David Regan, right? And Facebook made me change it because they don't like fun. Mark Zuckerberg's not a fan of having a laugh, is he? Do you know what I mean? You must use your real fucking names, mate. First, it's probably for like safety or whatever, but it's probably also so they could, you know, categorize the data more in a more correct way. But yeah, I didn't take. I should have been like. I felt like a bit of a knob being like. That's everyone calls me Riggs. Normally, when I've moved, it's normally been someone that I previously know. It's like met some new friends, and that's what he's called me. Then people have started calling me that. Like, it's weird to try and keep a nickname going into your 30s, isn't it? But it's just what people call me, Riggs. My mum calls me it. This can be a bit weird sometimes because it's like because she chose the initial name. Do you know what I mean? But I got called it because we used to hang around in this like giant gang of Davids. There's loads of us, mate. There was also a sensible Paul. He used to wear like shirts, so we were like, he's sensible, isn't he? We call him Sensible Paul. And there was another Dave who had a really big nose, and my nose isn't exactly small, but they called him Concord Dave. And I'm glad that he was there because I've got a pretty fucking Concordy nose as well. So I dodged a bullet there, unlike the company Concord, who I'm making a Concord joke. No one's doing that, are they? I mean, they did, but you love an airline collapse. As soon as that Monarch went down, I was straight on there with the fucking jokes about that because I did have a holiday booked as well. I was supposed to go to Spain. I think it was Spain. Got a few good gigs out of that. Do you know what I mean? Opening up. I was supposed to be on holiday, mate, but you know, booked Monarch. Oh, crowd would go mental, mate. People would like throw their pants at me and shit, like men. The army would. Do you know what I mean? They're my biggest fans now. That's my target market. Speedoed army, man. Speedoed. I don't know if that's a verb or a noun. I don't know what they are. We're doing all right though. Like, no, hey, was it nine? What did I say? Nine and a bit days of no drinking. It's all right. I remember seeing for the first time in ages. Like I used to MC my own a couple of nights, and I do run a night with James. But James is such a good MC that I don't just let him do it. I feel like that's his thing. But I used to drink quite a bit when I was MCing, you know, because it's like a different thing, in it. Like you got to be like, you all right? What we gonna? You got to be like off the cuff. Do you know what I mean? But like I've done a couple where I've not been I've been sober. They've been all right. They've been all right, but it's a bit like it's only a new material that I shouldn't even give a fuck. And it's always been fine when I've done it, and I don't really give a fuck to be honest. Like obviously you want it to be good. That's what I give a fuck about. But yeah, it's funny. I was gonna do that later, but like, so I've got to have one on my afternoon naps. I started having siestas. I think the Spanish are right. I think they do it because it's hot, but I just pretend it's hot. I mean, it's not hot. It's fucking freezing. That's why I had to help that blind old lady, a blind old crazy lady, because she was outside and it was a bit raining and it wasn't very warm. Who doesn't stop for that old lady? If you didn't stop for that old lady, I think I hate you. So besides, I'm gonna have to have an afternoon nap in a bit, I think. One thing that made me laugh loads this weekend is I was playing Guess Who with my daughter, and we're playing like a travel version, so it wasn't just a very diverse selection of people. It was like a cheap Guess Who. So they sort of like, some dudes were like orange and that. And there was only like 5 women on the thing. So if you went, is yours a woman? And they went, no. Then you just got or if they went, yes, sorry. Then you're left with like 5 people. It's really easy. but my, but, but it made me laugh loads because my daughter kept going. It was like, it just turned into a game of like racial profiling. Because she was like, she'd say, is your guy black? And I was like, no. And then she wouldn't move any of them down. And then she'd be like, sorry, is this guy black? And she just keeps showing me them. And it just made me laugh loads. It's just weird to be like, no, that guy looks like he's maybe like, it's a bit tanned, but I wouldn't say he was black, no. It was just, it made me laugh. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Yeah. We've got a good, we're still doing the Verdict Comedy Club, but it keeps getting double booked with jazz. So what we've done is we're going to have a little revamp of it and do it on a different night. But we do have one more coming up in November the 21st, which is in quite a while. But I'm going to start plugging it now. We've got my friend Billy Stone, who's fucking, he's getting, he's going to be a TV man, I think. Do you know what I mean? So get in and watch him now. He's fucking class. We've got Alice India, Simone Belshaw, James Danielewski. There's some others too. It's going to be Harry Pure, I think, it's coming down from Bristol. He's one of the people who was in my Leicester Square thing. But yeah, that's going to be on the 21st. It's like £3 to get in. It's like on Edward Street in Brighton, and it's in a jazz club. And we have our friend Nathan plays the piano in between the acts. It's like an American talk show. It's my favourite part of the whole night. Just fucking tinkling away. It's class, and then people have a bit of banter with him. Ben Carter shouted at him quite significantly, but then he shouts at everyone. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'll call it, man. This has been the Alkaline Podcast. My name's been Riggs, episode 16. This is the podcast where I attempt to get clean or die trying. And, we're getting clean again. Back on the wagon, mate. 9 days and a bit. Getting all the badges. And it's all right. It's fine. It's a new month in it. Sober October. Doing that, but then we're going to keep going, hopefully. See how we handle Christmas and the new year. It's fine, isn't it? No one goes out for New Year anymore. New Year's fucking whack. All right. See you later. Nice one.